what do you
and
do
me,
with your Bitcoin besides
it's time.
just
Doom
gather
scroll.
value?
Real estate
Tweeteroonies.
developers in New York City, they're not buying more real estate because
2026
they want to live in it.
will
But,
be biblical.
Most of the people who are buying
What's going to
assets
happen, friends?
at some point want to sell the assets
If
at a
Bitcoin,
profit.
if Bitcoin breaks 130K on the upside in 2026, the 4-year cycle will be officially, technically broken. And people will literally say this time is different, and it will probably cause some sort of cascading buyers coming in to give us a whole mania if it times well with the business cycle. Meanwhile, in the land of Twitteroonies, Matt Walsh, you're up in the middle of the night every night so you can post about your American issues while Americans are awake. So he's replying, I guess, to Garbage Human. So friends, they're obviously talking about the Twitter location doxing stuff. It is complete trash. It is a waste of time. I find it fascinating that literal useless rats in the system think that their country, their army generals, their presidents, their leaders care about them when they go into the internet and go, I'm here to defend my country. I'm here to defend my country. In every country. Like, oh, I have to defeat this evil plague that's trying to rule my country, bro. You got no idea what the hell is going on. You literally have zero idea. Friends, these people out here, they're not actually red-pilled. They think they're red-pilled because they're like, oh yeah, I understand that the Coconut Intelligence Agency might be working with Mossad. Maybe. Dude, you don't understand anything, bro. You understand literally nothing. Okay? The answer is the central bank controls everything. You blue-pilled cuck. The central bank controls everything. They are 50% of every transaction, in every single transaction going on, bro. Okay? When you want to buy a lollipop, you give them government currency. When you want to buy a real cigar or a cigarette, you give them currency, government currency. Guess who controls half of that equation? The central bank. They manipulate it. They keep printing it. They get the yield. They increase the supply by diluting the purchasing power of the middle class. They go and pay the economists. They go and pay the scientists. They go and pay influencers. They go and pay people on the TV, the journalists, to keep everybody inside the system. Arguing about whether some dude's from India or Nigeria or Pakistan or whether this guy's really from America, it doesn't mean anything, bro. It literally means nothing. Have you figured it out by now? They dangle the little carrot in front of your head. Yes, go and hate the black guy. Go and hate the white guy. Go and hate everyone. It is a distraction, bro. Okay? It is a distraction. Yeah? That's more time that they have bought where you aren't looking at the fact that they have increased the money supply by over 40% in 5 years. This chart. This chart right here. There it is, right there. The money supply keeps going up. The quantity keeps going up. You keep getting diluted over time. And what do they do with that extra dilution? Where do they go spend it? It's exactly everywhere I just told you to keep you in the system. Counterpoint. Bears are rolling out cavalry now. The last thing you want to see is hubris and complacency from the stubborn bulls. Personally, I'd like to see these guys fading recovery, calling for lower. But we're getting the opposite, into a 10% bounce on a weekend. So I guess he is, well, what he's done is, friends, he's taken one person. This really doesn't look like anything to get your panties into a bunch about. By the time everyone is getting left over by Friday, I won't be surprised to see Bitcoin back at 100K. So this guy's taken one dude going like, oh no, this guy's complacent. Friends, I literally have a thread. I'm going to make a full video on it. Friends, I literally have 21 KOLs. That's right, 21 major KOLs, and I'm missing 10, okay? Literally all calling for 55K next year. Okay, so it's funny. See, friends, everyone get confirmation bias. Obviously, this guy, he's sold. Yeah, he's like, oh, I found one guy out there who thinks these things might continue, right? So that's not a real, it's not a real strategy. I do it as like more commentary socially for us. It is interesting sometimes the stuff you can kind of figure out, but it's by no means, it's not some sort of scientific method here. Interesting set of top crypto movers: ZEC, HBAR, SPX69, Tau, IP. Right? I think it's basically saying like, oh, that's why a lot of people come out here. They think all those coins are trash. But you got to understand, friends, a lot of the people on Twitter, they're not normies. There's a lot more normies and stuff out there who are just holding these coins. You know, like Cardanzo and XRP and stuff, but they're not just on Twitter. So the people usually on Twitter, there's a lot of mid-curvers on there. A lot. Where they're like, oh, I don't like that coin, therefore that's trash, right? Yeah, but bro, you were the guy telling me Big Sol was going to $1,000, right? And it's got all the adoption. You were the one telling me. And then Sol ETH went down. Okay? Went down after the ETF as well. It's just happening. Everything that happened to Ethereum is happening to you. Carbon. As a privacy advocate, I think the new location update is terrible. As a troll, I think the new location update is hilarious. Countries with the most handsome men in 2025. Number 1, India. See, fans, it is interesting how easily everyone is really just, they put all the weapons down and they put up new weapons. They go, hey, let's fight over where a country's from, where someone's from, and just, you know, look, man, whatever. Okay. Every hour you spend wasting your time, every minute you spend wasting your time about that, just tells me you're not prepared for higher prices next year. Update. VanEck CEO says Bitcoin 4-year cycles points to a potentially weak 2026 and investors are positioning early. Well, there you go. He's playing, 4-year cycle, we're positioning early. Friends, you got to remember as well, everyone's selling because of the 4-year cycle now. So they've priced in next year to be bad. All right? At the end of 2021, it was not like that. Okay? At the end of 2021, if I show you, there were no people selling here saying 2022 was going to be bad. No one. Yeah, I can literally name to you. Blockchain backer, Richard Hart. All right? But then you had literally 50 KOLs saying they're still printing money. It's still infinite QE. 2022 is going to be good. Okay? Friends, you even had Ben Copeland said lengthening cycle theory. Just to give you an example. Do you remember? He made 5 1-hour videos on LCT, lengthening cycle theory, where he believed 2022 was going to be a bull year. Just literally give you an example, right? Like Ben Copeland literally lengthening cycle theory. Just to tell you, literally no one expected 2022 to be bad. Now, here we are. Everyone's expecting 2026 to be bad. They've front-runned it. They've priced it in. Justin, Gayscale Research calls Chainlink essential infrastructure for tokenized finance. Here is link on the Link ETF. There is a Chainlink ETF. I think it's coming this week. It doesn't really do anything. Like, these aren't a simple up-only, unfortunate experience for anyone. Here you have Chainlink as well. Absolute dog shit, garbage prices, friends. But if you're curious where we hope this thing goes, if you draw a macro fib from top to the bottom, I hope it gets to the highest fib by the end, which is about $200. I hope it does get there, which is about 15x from today. It's such a far way away. You know, we're waiting forever and ever. So we'll see. That's about 100 billion plus market cap. All right. Interesting as well, friends. Donald Trump might be the one to confirm the existence of aliens. You know, it's been my long-held belief. I've been speaking about this for 2 years. Since he came in, I thought if there's going to be a president who's going to want to reveal aliens to the world, it will be Donald Trump. You think about it. If you are the first president to say, hey, aliens are real, we're not alone, the video you play, you will be like, you know, at JFK and Martin Luther King, where they just replay the videos, right? You will be that in like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Every documentary, every movie, everything in history, from like when they look back in literally the future, they will go back to that moment. You will be the president. Your name literally is statued forever. So you have every incentive to want to do it. But also they might kill you. Josh man, just a thought. A few days ago, the optics became horribly bad for MicroStrategy on the charts as we hit a 1-year anniversary for the top. Is it possible that we're now looking for scapegoats? JP Morgan, the banking cabal, and this whole battle is just a distraction? Accept the losses and look for a mistake you can learn from. Correct course and move forward. Once again, Bitcoin Maxi talking about boring Bitcoin Maxi stuff. Bitcoin dominance is going down, dude. Digital gold is useful when the money supply is going from 0 to up, which is what they've done. Okay. And now the business cycle's next. It's eventually going to kick up. No one's coming in for digital gold after that. They don't. Okay. Friends, when people go risk on, what do? Do you go buy NASDAQ or gold? What do you think the average kid's going to do? They buy NASDAQ. Okay. Sentiment in the past 48 hours, disbelief. 100% Doug. I wonder if he follows me. Okay, 100% Doug, friends. So it is, this rally will fail like all the others. Okay, do you see that? Everyone's saying that. Uncle Bobby, Crypto Face, Ben Copen. I can go on and on and on. Every single Feffy, Crypto Banter, Miles, Ducha, friends, literally every single major crypto KOL. All right, 99%. Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 or 3 which are like on the side of it's still on. Crypto, everyone, no, friends, Ivan. I could go on and on and on. Bang, 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 bang. Incest Answers' friend. Okay, that dude, that old dude. The one with, he always like records his, he always shows his pool. Forgot his name. Shichio Larson. Right? This rally will fail. You're in denial. Yeah, you're in denial. Yeah. Friends, it is funny. They're saying this rally will fail like all the others. Okay, they're literally saying relief bounce, dead cat bounce, relief rally. Relief. Relief rally means, you know, I'm going to stop choking you George Droid style with my neck, with my knee. I'm going to stop choking you, but you're ultimately still going to die. That's what relief rally is, okay? If we were bullish, you'd be hearing buy the dip, last chance. Friends, at the tops, you hear complacency. We just need to cool off for the next rally. At the tops on the first big crash, people say this is your last chance to get in before Bitcoin goes to $1 million. This is your last chance. Let's say ChainLink goes to like 100. Let's say it actually does go to 200, drops back down to 100, that's back up to 130. The complacency will be this is your last chance to get ChainLink before it literally rockets to $500, $1,000. No one's talking like that, dude. You know, on this crash, no one said, oh, this is your last chance to buy Ethereum under 3,000. Who said that? No one said that. Literally nobody said that. Not even I said that. But it could be. It could be. It might as well be. Right? No one's talking like that. The only thing we ever heard came from a Bitcoin guy. The Twinklevoss brothers. The Twink brothers, Twinklevoss, remember they said this is your last chance to buy Bitcoin under 90K. No one dares to say this about Ethereum. This is your last chance to buy Ethereum under 3K. I'm just showing you how everyone's positioned. You can just figure out how they're positioned from this. That's why I'm here, friends. I'm giving you the highest value content in crypto. I provide this information here for you. Jack Dorsey and Michael Saylor represent 2 different visions for Bitcoin. Jack warns that if Bitcoin dies if it's not used as everyday money. Michael Saylor argues it's pristine capital and you don't buy coffee with fractions of Manhattan real estate. What do you think is correct? Interesting. Bitcoin is meant to be like the Bible. The story is meant to never change. I think Bitcoin's always going to be like this digital gold. It's going to have believers who are just DCA buying over time. However, okay, I'm still very, friends, I can't tell you how doomer bearish I am on Bitcoin, on that Bitcoin dominance. Okay, I tell you this every day. And I am ultra doomer bearish on it. I can't tell you, like, friends, you understand? Friends, we had Vitalik crying up here. Okay, what is the polar opposite of Vitalik crying? Bitcoin Max is crying. You got to think, I'm always thinking, what Bitcoin Max is crying? Dude, I'll tell you what they're crying about, bro. You have no smart wallet functionality. You have no privacy. You can't do DEXs. You can't hook up to payment rails. You can't do any of that, bro. There's no yield. There's no DeFi. There's no Aave. There's no stablecoins. Stablecoin supercycle. There's no tokenizing equities, tokenizing risk. None of that stuff that we're all building, none of it's got to do with Bitcoin. Literally zero. They have to force it on with their shitty little layer 2, but it doesn't have the network effect. No one cares. No one's using it there. Right? That's why I'm like, man, like they're so underprepared for what's coming. But we've had a business cycle that's been dampened for a long time, so they're totally complacent. Totally complacent. See, friends, this is how sad it got. The Bitcoin dominance, friends, this is how, friends, they're smoking crackles. Willie Woo said Bitcoin dominance has gone to 90% here. I'm thinking, bro, you honestly think that in the next, like, 5 years, you think everything that crypto guys have been making is worth 0? What a, like, whoa, man, like, that's... Friends, that is, you are no different to Peter Schiff, who says Apple, Amazon, Facebook, they're all worth 0 because they're in a fiat system. That's what it basically says. They're all technically all worth 0. No, they're not. No, they're not, bro. You're offside like a 20x on Amazon, Apple, and Facebook and all these other things from 10 years ago. 20x, bro. Okay, so... But no one's going to believe it until the business cycle's up. We need PMI above 55, that environment. Stablecoin and Bitcoin market cap. Something ominous is taking shape behind the curtain. Stablecoin inflows have stalled and the market is no longer getting fresh liquidity. Yeah, this is normal. When Bitcoin stalls, the stablecoin stalls. Okay? When it has here. So they're showing that then even like you can't even see it, dude. It's literally just gone sideways. Yeah. It's literally just gone sideways. So I guess they're scared that stable coins are going to go down. Friends, it's kind of funny they're going sideways. Bro, the Treasury Percent, he literally said, dude, we're going to get 2 trillion in stable coins coming into crypto in the next 5 years. Yeah. I don't know, man. Unless you really think, they're lying. Do you think the government's lying and they're going to pull liquidity next year and they're going to hike rates? Do you think that's going to happen? You know? That's how you're playing for. Ted Pillows, not Ted Blanket. The Dixie is back above the 200 EMA level. So this is the US dollar. But this is, I just love how, bro, because this guy's bearish as well, calling for a bear market. Did you understand the higher the US dollar goes, it literally gives permission to the Fed to print more money and liquidity because you keep bidding up their coin. But they're not thinking about that, are they? They're like, no, it's going to crack everything. So you have confirmation bias. Because you're short. You want to buy Bitcoin at 45 to 75K with everybody else. They're looking, they're like, oh, the US dollar's going to crack everything. Dude, the US president, President Pump, he literally said, we got a big, beautiful bill. All the mega spending starts next year. Okay? Pump literally said, I'm installing a puppet. I'm literally installing a Fed. He said, I've chosen a Fed, a guy who I want. I know who I want now. What do you think that means, bro? The president who wants lower interest rates, who can't get the interest rates low enough from major loser Powell, who's cracking the backs of the middle class right now, when the inflation numbers are rigged anyway and trueflation has it closer to 2%. Okay, what do you think that president's going to do, by the way? Do you think he's going to install someone who's going to be a hawk or a dove? Hawks attack down, friends. Hawks are like, they put downward pressure. They keep the rates high. They care about inflation. A dove is, what do you think a dove is? It's exactly what a dove does. Tomley says he knows who triggered the October 10th crash. Tom says a stablecoin on one exchange suddenly dropped to 65 cents. That was USDE. Seriously, this is why TradFi exchanges have limit up and limit down. You can't do... Eric Boltunas, how could you make such... I don't want to use the word stupid. I'm going to use another word. How could you be such a silly willy to make such a preposterously mid-curve soy boy statement talking about limit up and limit down? Do you understand crypto is open, permissionless, decentralized, global? Do you understand that? If you are the one exchange where you stop trading on the limit down, do you understand what that means? That means when the volume gets traded, it'll be on every other exchange but you. You close business. You tell your customers go trade somewhere else for this 10, 15 minutes. And guess what? The real price will be somewhere else. So when you open up, the market makers will just adjust it anyway. So you just lose money in that volume period. And no one's going to want to trade on you anyway because you got a shitty little limit breaker. Man, I just, hope you're enjoying the bull market. Account based in India. Indians will never win an argument on this app again. So once again, everyone's got the Pokeball dangled in front of them. Everyone is thinking about, Pakistan, Nigeria, India, Israel, where these countries are really from. Their agendas out here. Dude, you're all controlled by the currency. You, me, all of us are controlled by the manipulation of the currency, dude. All right? Once you're in the system, you are feeding it. On Cardano, they arrest you if you make transactions they don't like. So remember this girlfriend, she was a lady who escaped from North Korea. She went on Joe Rogan. So she's obviously making that meme about Cardano. Some kid used AI to break Cardano chain and make it like a bad block or something. And basically just to try break it. And then I think Charles Hoskinson called the feds on him and got the feds involved. And the kids were they're out to arrest him as well. They got to do some emergency updates. So that's why they're all pretty much, everyone's gotten to it. Their pants are a bit messy. MERP, one final mean reversion. See, friends, friends, we're going through my Twitter timeline. You're just seeing the bears. Did you see this? It's just coming over and over. Look at this, friends. One final mean reversion. That means this rally is going to fail like all the others. You see that? That's what they expect. Okay, he expects one final mean reversion is in. This comes back up here, and then you're ultimately going to fail down. All right? That's what they all expect. Man, fans, you know what's wild? You know what's wild? The events that have transpired. I mean, we all went from, this is wild, went from everyone, it was 50. This is the craziest part. In 2024, in January, I remember we did the polls. I remember, friends, I made a poll and I showed you many polls and videos. Everyone was debating whether it's going to be left translated cycle or normal 4-year cycle. But I remember something, okay? It was about 45% left translated. So we're going to peak in 2024. 45% standard cycle. And 10% were like, we're going to go longer. It's going to be a 2026, 2027, somewhere deeper. Isn't that funny how wrong the crowd was back then? We're all wrong. It was longer than expected. It was actually long. It's actually longer than expected. If we run into next year, Bitcoin breaks 130K. Can't declare it yet, but man, just, I remember those polls, right? I remember even saying, I remember going through and I'm like, look, based off the fact that, because it was hard for us to see Trump coming in, it gives you so much optimism. We're like, well, it's hard for you to think that things are going to mess up, but they did. They did, the 5-year bonds. We're still going to make it though. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you in the next one.